Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKadosh, double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone that rule well. Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of sincerity and truth. Just wanted to do a to the point, really, kind of just, on the scripture, 2 Timothy 2, about enduring hardness and essentially the role that you've signed up for, having come into this truth. You come into this truth, you essentially take up a position. You've got what they called like military formations, and then you've essentially sacrificed yourself to take up a position within that take up a position within that that formation, and it comes with affecting how you essentially interact with the world afterwards, and how people deal with you. Because obviously, you're going to be out there, you're going to have to essentially live and carry yourself in a way separate from the the general the rest of the world, man. The way that people just normally are kind of out there dealing and doing things, you can't you can't just deal in the same way. So as such, people are gonna look at you funny. They might be like, oh, you've got particular laws, essentially things you got conduct yourself doing, and as well you're gonna get hardships and trials coming upon you, and then people are gonna not really they ain't gonna know how to take that. But hey, is what it is. That's what part of the trials that you essentially put yourself in for. And it's like when you deal with, in the carnal sense, with Esau's military, you go in there, you do basic training, I believe it's called. For the military, you do basic training. Then it's like if you're not up to par, then you'll get dropped out, and then you'll have to do your tours or whatnot. A tour. It's like 3-4 years, I believe. And then afterwards, you can be discharged. But then with this is onto death, essentially. Like becoming, it's as far as you get veteran status in the kingdom, essentially. That's the only time you're gonna be like a military vet. Otherwise, you're gonna ride out. You're gonna deal with it to the end, or you're essentially gonna be a deserter. So it's 2 Timothy 2:1. It says, "Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Hamashiach Yahushua, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Hamashiach." Yeah, so enduring that hardness, man. That's essentially the key. That's key to this, because it says with with the roll, when it said like yo, eat that roll, and it said in your mouth will be sweet as honey, but in your belly it will be bitter. So it's the same with what you call it, with the roll. It's the same with the hardships. Essentially, how life's gonna be. It's gonna seem like at first, like, yo, this is all good. It's all blessed up. It's all, it's just like, yo, this is great. But then afterwards, hardships start getting dropped on top as well. And that's when it starts getting bitter, when it's like, your family ain't want to deal with you. You might have a woman she don't want to deal with you. You might have trouble, even getting women to deal with you. You might have issues with the place you're staying, issues at the workplace. You might just have people fucking with you out and about. There's a various ways it can manifest, but that's all what you essentially need to have in your mind to be ready to take on board, man. To start having to deal with. So read this, James 1 and 12. It says, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him." So yeah, you got to endure for what? For that crown of life. Because you're essentially doing it for that reward. That's as far as for what will have value and weight. It's basically the riches, the wealth you're building within this truth. All that you put in, all the labor that you put in for this word, that's what's going to heap on to getting that let's say what was it called, not a retirement payment, it would be a pension, yeah, like a pension, like you work on in Esau's world. You're meant to work, and then you pay money into your pension, then you retire, and then you're meant to get. That's essentially, you spiritually you're building up that wealth that essentially you're gonna reap the rewards of when we get into the kingdom. For this side now is about ensuring the hardness. Now is about the struggle, the toil. But then it's when you get to rest, you then have greater rewards, depending on how you conduct yourself in this time. So this is what so back in 2 Timothy 2 says 2 Timothy 2 and 3, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua. No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that he might please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier." So yeah, when you're out here, you gotta eat, you gotta have a place over your head. You might have family you gotta deal with, wife, kids, etc. Various circumstances that basically come from having to conduct yourself within Esau's realm. But it's about not getting entangled, because you got essentially got to please Yahushua. You got to make sure Yahushua is getting his due, because otherwise then you're it's essentially to receive the reward. It's about getting to the end. 1 Corinthians 9:24, it says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible." And yeah, so it's like the race, man. We're essentially, striving, we're working, we're running, so that we can receive that reward, man. That reward being that crown that's incorruptible. Because anything you get, like now on this side, it's gonna be corruptible. Any money you're working for is within Esau's system, when we already know that what's it called? We already know monetarily. This whole system's looking like it's gonna collapse. Well, it's gonna collapse essentially. And then what? Any position of authority, all these things that are gonna mean nothing. They're all gonna mean nothing, because why? It's temporal. It's transitory. It's gonna be here. You'll see it, then you won't. That's why you have, you go back 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. There'll be people where they were legendarily famous. They had the world in the palm of their hand. A bunch of them dropped dead. A bunch of them lost the fame. A bunch of them are broke as hell. All any kind of so-called position of honor or greatness that you can get on this side, it's temporary. Only run for a little season, and then it will be a wash. So given that, why strive? Why why try and build up, man, and put the effort into this side? It says what 2 Timothy 2:4, no man warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. Yeah, you got to strive lawfully. You got to keep to that straight path, that narrow path, that passageway, which is the only way, man, through Yahweh Shai. Then basically doing what Yahweh Shai has mandated for us. That's essentially our role, man. Anything you were doing before, you might have been, the most reliable guy in your family. You might have been striving, thinking, oh, okay, you're gonna play. You might have been playing like under-18s football, under-21s football, or something. Thinking like, yo, you're gonna make it. You're gonna break in. You might have had a few small indie films that had success, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna go to LA. I'm gonna hit up Hollywood, whatever. Those things all subsides, and then you essentially have to fulfill the role of that troop. You have to be that good soldier, that spiritual soldier, man, not the carnal, man. You're not going into Esau's system. You're basically what? Going into that spiritual warfare, man. What was I was thinking of? Spiritual wickedness. Yeah. So Ephesians 6:12, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And yeah, that's essentially what it is. You're going into warfare against the left hand side, the pinnacle of the left hand side, man. That's what you're contending with, man. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom. Yabashim Shabashim. Washim Kadesh. Shalom.